Hey guys, it's Dazzy. I just wanted to come and do a review of episode 20 of the second season of School. It's called CB Saves the Planet. Now, well, we had a new episode this past week, and I'm just going to say right off that it was extremely hard to watch for me. And I'll get into why, and you probably already know why it was hard to watch for me, but I'll address that a little bit later. Um, First, I would like to talk about the Lainey and Wilma storyline, just so I can get that taken care of. But like I've said before, I really like the friendship that they're building between Wilma and Lainey, and I think the show is doing a really great job of showing that relationship. And let me just say, I was happy to see Anna return again in this episode. And if you don't remember Anna, she was Lainey's student during the CB Likes Lainey episode, and she performed Ironic by Alanis Morissette at the talent show. And I just wanted to point that out in that episode. And plus, if just a fun little nugget there, it is the episode, CB Likes Lainey episode, when CB discovered that he had feelings for Lainey, with Susan Cinnamon's constant nudging, of course, and the fact that they put her, Anna, back in this episode where CB has feelings for someone else is definitely kind of ironic, don't you think? I mean, seriously. I was rewatching this episode and I'm like, Anna has not made an appearance since that episode, and it's just kind of strange that they decided to put her back in this episode, where CB realizes he has feelings for someone else, and that is very ironic, I think. you know, very ironic. Whether that was their intention or not, I don't know, but I definitely thought about that and discovered that in this episode. So, but anyway, we see Wilma and Anna talking about the yearbook superlatives, and Anna's worried she's going to receive most quiet, and and Wilma tells Anna that she'll speak to Miss Lewis about it and see what she can do, because she doesn't want, Anna's feelings to be hurt or for Anna to feel terrible about herself. And I must point out the fact that Lainey is yet again in charge of something else. And if you remember in the Rockstar episode, she was so overwhelmed by everything she had to do, all the practices she had to do after school, that she even asked, Wilma and CB to help her out. And then in the Lainey's mom episode, she was suddenly the cheer coach again. And it's just like, there are other teachers than the school writers. You can put other teachers in charge of this stuff, but I know they want to showcase their main characters. So, but and also usually the yearbook is handled by an English teacher, not a music teacher. So that's what I've seen in the schools I've worked in. So, but I'll digress from that. My husband also joked. He said, well, there's only 4 teachers in the school: CB, Lainey, Rick, and Wilma. And I'm like, that's true. That's their main teachers that they constantly, focus on. But Wilma goes to Lainey and asks her to get rid of the superlatives because they are making other students, feel terrible, and other students feel good, but most students feel terrible about it. And Lainey says she can't just do that because it's a school tradition and the students are really looking forward to it. But Wilma calls her out and says, well, you were probably given all these superlatives in high school. And Lainey says, yeah. And then we find out that now that teachers are on the ballot and that it was totally Lainey's idea because she probably wants to receive, coolest teacher. And I would like to say the first year I was a teacher, I was teaching in middle school. And when I taught there and they decided to do teacher superlatives that year, and they ended up doing away with them because a lot of teachers' feelings were hurt, and it was, kind of a popularity contest. And I do remember one teacher received most strict, and she was so upset about it. But, in actuality, she was the strictest teacher in the school. But needless to say, we haven't done them since. And that was like 14 years ago. And I'm still at the same school that I was at when I first started. So, but we see Wilma sneaking into the yearbook room to sneak a peek at the winners, just so she can, see if Anna won most quiet so she can prepare her. But she ends up finding out that she was actually given coolest teacher, which, I could see that. But in a way, I think the students think she's mean. I mean, in all the other episodes, we've always seen her being kind of like the mean teacher, and the kids thinking her as the mean teacher and not the cool teacher. Like the boy band episode, they were even made fun of her because she did this video for the boy band guy for Weasel and them. But anyway, I'll digress. But maybe it's because she dresses really cool, which I always love the way Wilma dresses. So I've said that before. But next, what you see Wilma strutting into school in her too cool for school outfit, and she's tossing her hair over her shoulders, and she comes into the teacher's lounge, and they're all, and John comes on, and he's announcing the superlative winners, and Lainey thinks she's going to win coolest teacher, and she pipes up, and then really it's Wilma that wins it, and she's like, "What the hell?" And Wilma tries to act all surprised, which is so funny, but she's known, all along. And Lainey actually calls her out on it too, and kind of stalks around her and figures it out. And Wilma tells her, she only wanted to protect Anna, and that was the reason why she went in the first place. But um, and we find out that we see Wilma looking at her photos that she took, and she's trying to decide which one to use. And poor old Anna comes in, and she says she thought Wilma was on her side and trying to get rid of the superlatives. And Wilma says she tried, but they're really popular in its edition. And poor old Anna, she gets up her courage and she says that, Wilma was a lot cooler before she won coolest teacher. And I'm like, whoo, Anna, laying it down, laying down the law here. She's got some real balls to say that to Wilma, especially because she's such a quiet student. I thought that was really brave and courageous of her. But for someone who's quiet, she definitely told her like it was. So, good for her. But Wilma kind of has a heart to heart with Lainey and says she kind of got carried away with the superlatives and that she stopped caring about the students, and confesses that in high school she got most studious, which was code for biggest nerd. And she forgot how superlatives, how hurtful it could be. And Lainey suggests they start making everybody feel good for once, so they give awards to everyone just to kind of point out their own special uniqueness. And they gave Anna an award for most likely to speak up and change the world, which I thought was so cool because she was so scared of getting most quiet, but actually she ended up standing up for herself. And that, I think that was really, really cool. I thought that was sweet. They gave an award to all the students, which kind of seems like a more modern thing than a 90s thing, but I'll let that go. It is a TV show after all. So really, I like the story between Wilma and Lainey in this episode. It kind of showed how Wilma was able to, hash out some of her past, which we've seen that before in the Friendsgiving episode, where she was picked on by her brothers growing up, but, and also coming to terms with it. And Lainey got a little bit of growth there too. She doesn't always have to be the best at everything. And which she's had that kind of experience before with the Rockstar episode. And plus it helped the students feel better about themselves, because they gave the awards to those students to kind of point out their own uniqueness and what they're great at. But now, just moving on to the CB storyline, and this is going to be tough for me. So, but I've come prepared, so brace yourself. We see Glasscott's all worked up about the environment because he saw the movie Waterworld, and I remember going to see that actually with my uncle and my cousin when I was younger, and I just thought the movie was so strange. But I love Kevin Costner. He was, he's in one of my favorite movies, which is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which is one of my favorite movies, even though it's kind of inaccurate. I do love it. And it's, one of my favorites. And of course, Alan Rickman's in it. I mean, who doesn't love Alan Rickman? I mean, it's Snape, for goodness sake. I mean, love Alan Rickman and who loves that and doesn't like that voice of his. Such a great voice. Anyway, but moving on, John said he wants to, save the planet now. So he hires Paloma, which is she's an environmental consultant to help out with the Earth Day activities. But right before that, we see Rick and CB in the parking lot, and CB tells him that he went on a date, and the date left him at the restaurant. And he said she had to go put money in the meter, but he actually drove, and there were no meters. And I was like, oh, poor CB. Who would walk out on CB? I mean, please give me this girl's number because I need to talk some sense into her. I mean, I just love him so much, and he's such a sweet and caring person. Who would not want to be with CB? I mean, anybody would be lucky to have him, like Lainey says. She does. Rick says he knows that the problem that he has, he thinks he knows what the problem is, and that he's got nerdy bumper stickers, he's got comic books, hacky sacks, and he's got Yoda on his dashboard, and he calls Yoda an elderly frog in a bathrobe, which I almost died at that joke. That's so funny. But, I was thinking, Rick should know who Yoda is because, he went and saw Phantom Menace with CB in the Star Wars Club back in the first season, but I'll forgive that. It made for a really good joke. So I'll give that to them. He tells CB, that he needs to kind of hide his true self when he first starts dating a woman. And CB's like, isn't lying about who I am wrong, And Rick says, well, you don't have to lie. Just don't flaunt, your eccentricities at first, and Rick and CB kind of agrees when he says, yeah, the things I've been doing hasn't worked so far. So maybe I'll take your advice. So, and Rick tells him to try to focus on whatever she's into and kind of go in on that, and to impress her. And I thought it was funny, but when CB said, "But what if she's into Yoda?" and Rick says, "Believe me, she's not into Yoda," and he puts the Yoda bobblehead in his glove compartment. Just it was just so funny. And I was just gonna say, I figured out the moment he said that he walked out his date walked out on him. When I saw this clip before the episode, the second I heard him say that his date walked out on him, I knew Paloma was going to like him. I just knew it. I knew that was going to seal the deal, because it was foreshadowing a little bit, all his dates run out of him. This one's definitely, and the reason that they're showing her in this episode is because she's going to end up liking him. So I knew that right away. And it kind of gave me, a sinking feeling in my stomach, because I hoped this episode was not going to carry into the other ones, and it was just going to kind of be a one-off episode, because all the other episodes are kind of one-off, so why would this one continue? But I don't know. But I knew that it was going to work out the second I heard that the other girls had walked out on him. And I do want to point out that I predicted on Tumblr, I wrote this whole synopsis of how I thought the episode was going to go down after actually I recorded my other video, so I couldn't go back and change it. But I was looking at the promo stills, and I saw Rick holding up the comic book and to CB, and I knew, and that kind of put a little, thought in my head. Rick is going to suggest that he tries to hide who he is, and that made me kind of mad, because we all love CB and we want girls to like him for who he is and not what he's not. So I was a little mad at Rick, about that, for telling him to change who he was, because girls should like CB for who he is, not what he's not. So, but when they posted this teaser on Instagram earlier on, I think it was Tuesday, and I replied. I think I was the first one to reply, and I said, I'm into Yoda. I'm here, CB. I love you. And I almost deleted it, but actually a few hours later, Brett Dyer, who plays CB, he actually liked it, which totally made my day. And my birthday was actually the day before, so I joked that it was the best birthday present I ever got. But you just don't know how happy that made me, even though it sounded kind of desperate. I'm like, I love you. It was not my intention at all. It was just trying to be funny. But moving on, we see Rick and CB walking into the school, and Glasscott introduces them to Paloma. And Rick suggests that, CB be the green captain to work alongside with Paloma. And I like how he says, bleep pollution. And she says, oh, yeah, that's my slogan. And poor CB getting all flustered in front of a girl. It's kind of cute. I'm not going to lie. He's kind of cute in front of a girl. And but he tries to impress Paloma later in the episode by lying about, being an eco warrior to impress her. And so he's going, he's trying to take Rick's advice. He's going all in on what she likes, to impress her. And Tom Scott comes up to him with the comic book that he wanted to borrow, but CB takes it and recycles it and says he'll give Tom the money for it later, because he's trying not to let Paloma know he likes comic books, which I totally knew was going to backfire the moment he did that. And I kind of predicted that on, Tumblr too. I said he's going to, turn away students that are trying to, show him nerdy things that they think he'll like. And he's not going to want to talk to them about it. He's going to blow them off because he wants to impress Paloma. And so kind of met my expectation there. But Paloma and him discovers there's a bird that lives near the school that's a protected species. And we see another student, come up, and Bobby comes up with a magic trick to show him, and he completely blows him off, which I thought was so sad, because CB loves that stuff. So it was probably hard for him to turn him away, but he's trying to impress Paloma again. But we see Paloma tell CB in the school with the thermostat, cooling the school, but you're actually heating the planet, by burning fossil fuels and creating more global warming. And she said something about it's actually death by irony. She said, take that, Alanis Morissette, which, here we go again, is another nod to the CB Likes Lainey episode again, where CB realized he had feelings for Lainey, and Anna actually sung the song Ironic at the talent show. And I'm starting to think, are the writers putting these little nuggets in for a reason, or is it just ironic? you know, are they trying to tell us something? Are they hinting at something? So you kind of insert the thinking emoji here, right? Are they doing this for a purpose, or is it just ironic? You never know. The part with Anna being the episode, and this part where she mentions the ironic again, song ironic again. I just have to point that out. It stood out for me as like a red flag, when I was rewatching the episode. But moving on, then he asks, Paloma out on a date, and she accepts, which made me groan a little bit. But I want CBD to be happy, but it still hurts, to see him moved on from Lainey, But he's got to move on. He's got to date other people, and I hate it, but and plus, Lainey's still dating Barry, so I mean, it's fair. It's fair is fair, I guess. But he tries to make a joke about lettuce, and he does this little robot thing when she walks off, and he realizes how stupid he looks, which I'm like, yes, that's the CB we love. CB, come on, let it come out. We want to see him. If she doesn't like you for you, then to hell with her, right? Anyway, CB tells Rick the next day that his advice worked, and that shirt he has on, that beautiful reddish pink shirt, ooh, that looks so good on him. My little heart eyes came out, you guys. I love that on him. He needs to wear more of that color. But Rick finds out that Paloma is still is trying to stop the baseball field from being built, because if they find out that a bird species makes its home there, the land may be protected and nothing else can be built there. And John tells Rick, he can't do anything about it because it's up to a higher power. And Rick makes this joke about, are we talking about the Lord? Because he would go baseball over birds any day. And that kind of cracked me up, because I actually know a pastor who loved baseball. And I just think he would totally agree with Rick on that one, ironically. But Rick pulls CB out of class to tell him he needs to convince Paloma to get over the bird's obsession. And CB says he can't do that because Paloma's taught him to make sacrifices to help the environment. So he can't take a bird's home away. And Rick says he owes him one because of the dating advice that worked that he gave him. And CB says he can't help him on this one, but Rick calls him out, saying he's just putting up a front to impress Paloma. And Paloma actually walks up and overhears it. And she tells him, is that true, CB? And he tells her, yeah, he was trying to impress her at first, or he was trying to lie to her at first, but she tells him congratulations because she fell for it, and she walks off. And CB, tells Rick, I really liked her, and, you kind of ruined it for me. And Rick says, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have anything to ruin. So I thought it was kind of funny, and it's true, he wouldn't, but it is kind of sad that happened. But I knew CB's plan would backfire somehow in this episode. Just didn't know how it would go down. It always does in sitcoms. When somebody lies about something, it always comes out in the end. And I knew she'd probably tell him that she didn't care about his quirks later, which in fact does happen. And I figured that was going to happen. So CB performs this little magic show in front of the bird court, I guess we could call it, to save the bird's habitat and to counter Rick's All America, kind of argument. And to ultimately, he's helping out Paloma. And how cute was that? His little magic show. It would definitely win me over if CB did something like that for me. It would definitely win me over. But Rick kind of gives up his fight for the stadium, and he says, I tried to change you, CB, but you end up changing me, which is such a Rick thing. Rick is he can be so profound at times, but it sounds so silly, coming from Rick. You just have to laugh. You can't take it seriously. But Paloma comes over and hugs CB, and I'm like, I'm like banging plates, like breaking plates, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 500 Days of Summer. I'm breaking those plates. But when he apologized to her for deceiving her, she said she only has one thing to say about that, and I so thought she was going to pull him for a kiss. My heart almost stopped. But she actually pulled a coin out from behind his ear, and he did the same to her, which was, was kind of cute. I'm not going to lie, but don't like it. It was cute, but I'm totally, not digging them together. I'm not digging it at all. It totally won him over. So we see him smile and everything. And then we see him, getting in the car with her, and he puts the Yoda bobblehead back on his dashboard, and they smile at each other, which is cute. But I'm like, not liking it. Nope. Don't like that. So, just my overall thoughts, some thoughts on CB having a girlfriend, when I first heard, about this episode and I did my video on the promo stills, I told you I had mixed feelings. I actually thought this was going to be like a one-off episode where he was going to like a girl and then she'd not feel the same way not feel the same way. And because of what the synopsis said, it said his feelings for her may change because tries to stop the construction project at the school. So I totally thought, he was going to like her, not, at first, but then not like her because she was going to try to stop this project from happening. And they were going to, end up parting ways. But another part of me also thought that Lainey might see them together and it kind of bring up her feelings that she suppressed, after the singled out episode where she knew CB had the crush on her and she was kind of doubting, her relationship with Barry. But neither of those theories, panned out. Paloma ended up liking him and Lainey didn't see them, which was really frustrating because I really wanted Lainey to see them together. And also the fact that their paths didn't even cross in this episode was strange, but I think they kind of wanted to give CB a storyline with a love interest that didn't involve Lainey, for a change, that that she wasn't involved in any of it at all, and kind of get to see him with someone else, without Lainey there to shake things up. And now that he has a girlfriend, she's going to have to find out, sooner or later. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. And I actually have a couple of theories on how that could go. The first theory is the one that I don't want to happen, and that's the one where she could care less about it and be happy for CB, which I hope does not happen. Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. Second, she could hate Paloma and try to break them up, which CB could end up ending their friendship over, which I don't want that to happen either. I don't want that to happen. And third, Paloma could see the way he acts around Lainey and thinks that CB shouldn't be such close friends with a girl and wants CB, to end their friendship with Lainey. And that could be what breaks him and Paloma up, because he can't give up his friendship with Lainey, which I totally would be fine with that one, because, it would open up a chance for CB and Lainey to get together, even though I don't want CB to be hurt. I don't want him to be hurt by that. But, if she doesn't like Lainey, he's going to side with Lainey because he's known her longer. I don't think he would give up Lainey for a girl. And lastly, Lainey gets really jealous of Paloma and either confesses to CB that she has feelings for him, or this is another theory that I had, that maybe since she sees CB has moved on and has a girlfriend, that maybe she'll run to Barry and want to marry Barry, maybe propose to him this time, want to marry him right away so she doesn't have to face her feelings for CB. And CB kind of finds out and doesn't think she should rush into it, and they have some kind of heart-to-heart moment and they confess their love to each other, which would be my ultimate dream right there. That would be my ultimate dream. That's my ultimate dream right now. You're welcome, Adam Goldberg. You're welcome to use that idea. I have not copyrighted it, so you can go ahead and use it, if you want. I just want to point out, but I do want to point out that back in December, I made a tweet that said I hoped CB started to date someone and Lainey would be jealous. I actually tweeted that out, and Adam Goldberg actually replied to me, and he said his only response was, "I have a plan." So maybe this is the plan, you guys. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the plan that they've had all along, to get CB and Lainey together. I'm just, my fingers crossed that this is the plan, to make her feel jealous, and then then it's going to happen. I'm crossing my fingers that this is going to happen. I'm thinking that this is it, but it might not be. So I'm not getting my hopes up too high, but this is what I think is happening. I think this is the plan that they've had all along. But we'll have to wait and see, as I always say, I haven't heard any news about the finale yet, so I don't know whether we're getting it or not, but as soon as I do, I'll probably make a quick little video just to kind of say my thoughts about it. And this CB Saves the Planet episode may be the last one we're getting for a while, but they just can't end it here. I hope they get a third season. They've got to address some stuff for me, so just for me. Go ahead and do it just for me. Just so I can have some closure here. We need more than this, right? We need more than just him dating another girl. We need closure here. Overall, though, I didn't hate Paloma. I kind of liked her. I thought she was a good character. I'm kind of glad CB's happy and has found someone to love, but we all know that he loves Lainey more than anything. And that while he may have moved on, we know she holds a special place in his heart. And I have no doubt that if she develops feelings for him, he'll jump at the chance to be with her, whether, it's right away or he has to see this relationship with Paloma through. We just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But those are my thoughts on this episode, and I actually got through it without crying, which is pretty nice and pretty. I think I got all my crying out yesterday, actually. But I was very sad to see CB moving on. But I knew it was coming, and I knew it was going to happen. It was just, it was very late in the season for that to happen. But and plus now we don't know if we're getting more episodes, so that's really sad to think about too. But I really love this show, and I just think that they're actually they're moving towards something really big, which I'm really happy about. But thank you for listening, and hope you stay safe. And if we have a finale, I will come back and I will talk about that one. Okay. I love you guys. Bye.